Good evening and welcome to Gravitas. I'm Palki Sharma, Upadhyay. Let's get started. Oil has been the boon and bane of our existence for the past century. Oil has driven growth. It has also led to wars. Oil revenues and petrodollars have transformed economies. Countries with high oil reserves also control supply and prices. Now they're fighting a new kind of war with the rest of the world, an oil price war. Something unprecedented is happening. Leading economies of the world are tapping into their strategic oil reserves, emergency reserves. The kind they keep for emergencies and wars, strategic reserves. India and 5 other countries are tapping into such reserves. They're dumping oil into the market to bring down prices. It's an oil war of a new kind, but as dangerous as any war, and the casualty will once again be us, all of us. Oil prices are set to go up. On Gravitas tonight, we discuss this new oil war and what it means for our world. Can the monopoly of the oil exporters be broken? We look at how the odds stack up. Also on the show tonight, cryptocurrency rates crash in India over reports of a proposed new law. We'll tell you all about it. US President Joe Biden plans to host a democracy summit. Taiwan is invited. China, Russia and Turkey are not, which is fine. Quick question. How does America get to play judge on democracies? We'll discuss that. Will humans meet the fate of dinosaurs? NASA is crashing a spacecraft into an asteroid to avoid it. We'll explain. And here's another impact of the pandemic. Prolonged exposure to phone and laptop screens is changing the shape of your eyes. We'll bring you the findings of a new report. We begin as always with Gravitas Global Headlines.
Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has vowed to head to the front lines as the Tigray rebels move closer to capital Addis Ababa. The United Nations has ordered the immediate evacuation of family members of international staff in Ethiopia amid growing international concern. Filipino protesters marched to the Chinese consulate in Manila to demonstrate against China's high-handedness, a week after China's Coast Guard used water cannons against Philippine supply boats in the South China Sea. The EU has called for verifiable proof of Peng Shuai's safety from China, urging China to carry out a full and transparent investigation into the accusations. As tensions between Russia and the West continue to remain high, Russia's defense minister has accused U.S. bombers of rehashing a nuclear strike on Russia from 2 different directions earlier this month, and complained that U.S. planes had come within 20 kilometers of the Russian border. Several thousand university students took to the streets of Iraq's Kurdistan for the 3rd day in a row, protesting against grant cuts. Security forces used tear gas and water cannons to disperse protesters. Several people, including security personnel and protesters, were injured. A day after the UK Prime Minister's rambling speech prompted concern from a number of Tory MPs, Downing Street says Boris Johnson is physically well and has full grasp on the Prime Ministership. In a grim report, the United Nations projects that the death toll from Yemen's war will reach 377,000 by the end of 2021, with 70% of those killed children under the age of 5. Albert Einstein's rare handwritten notes on the theory of relativity have fetched a record $13 million at an auction in Paris. French footballer Karim Benzema has been found guilty of an attempt to blackmail former teammate Mathieu Valbuena over a sex tape. The case dates back to 2015 and saw both players drop from the national team. Real Madrid forward Benzema has been handed a 1-year suspended jail term and fined $84,000. Benzema's national team exile ended earlier this year, and his legal team will appeal the conviction. Manchester United have booked their place in the last 16 of the UEFA Champions League, just 2 days after the sacking of manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. In Michael Carrick's first game as temporary head coach, goals from Cristiano Ronaldo and Jadon Sancho gave the Red Devils a 2-0 win at Villarreal. Defending champions Chelsea are also through to the knockouts after a 4-0 thrashing of Juventus.
I'll start with some questions. Do you drive a car? Has your petrol or diesel bill been bothering you? Were you hoping for a price cut soon? If the answer to all these questions is a yes, I have two things to say to you. One, you're not alone in this suffering. And two, you will not get relief anytime soon. Your fuel bill will only go up in the days ahead because we are in the middle of an oil war. Look at the case of India. By October, oil prices in India were near a 3-year high. For around 20 days now, they have been stable, but there is no major price cut in the offing. And I know what you're thinking. The reason for sky-high oil prices are taxes in India, and you're right, but that is not the only reason. An oil cartel is keeping your fuel bill high, and this is not some gang that operates in India. I'm talking about some of the world's biggest oil producers, countries like Saudi Arabia, Russia and Iraq. These are 23 countries in all. They make up the OPEC Plus. And this cartel, oil cartel, wants to dictate global oil prices. They want to keep them high. Who is going to challenge them? An alliance is taking shape. 6 countries have joined hands. India is one of them. The others are the United States, Japan, China, Britain and South Korea. These 6 countries have come together to fight the oil cartel. This is the global oil war. How will these countries break the monopoly of the oil cartel? How do they plan to win this battle? On Gravitas tonight, that's what we'll discuss. We begin with the problem. Let me explain it first. It is the global price of crude oil. It's quite high at the moment, and that's a problem. At the beginning of 2020, 1 barrel of crude oil was priced at $69. 1 barrel has about 159 liters of crude. So for 159 liters, countries were paying $69 at the beginning of 2020. Then came the pandemic. Crude prices hit rock bottom. On the 28th of April 2020, the price of 1 barrel of oil fell to around $20. That's a drop of more than 70%. Then, more than a year later, oil prices jumped to a 3-year high. In October 2021, they touched almost $86 a barrel. Today, crude was selling at around $82 a barrel. That is 4 times more than April last year, when the pandemic struck. And even when compared to the pre-pandemic rates, the current price of oil is 18 to 20% higher. So you could say that crude is selling at a premium today. You are buying oil at premium rates. Who is keeping these prices so high? It is, like I said, the oil cartel, the OPEC Plus. OPEC stands for Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. They're members. OPEC is the oldest alliance of oil exporters in the world. What makes the OPEC Plus? It is the addition of 10 more countries: Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Brunei, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Mexico, Oman, Russia, South Sudan and the Sudan. 10 more countries. So 23 in all, and they supply almost half of the world's oil. They have about 90% of the world's proven oil reserves. And this is the oil cartel we're talking about. This is the cartel that dictates global crude prices. How do they do that? By controlling the supply. Listen to this carefully. When this oil cartel wants the prices to go up, they cut back the crude supply. They create a shortage, so the prices go up. When this cartel wants the prices to fall, they simply turn on the crude taps. They increase the supply to the market. There is excess crude, so the prices fall. It is simple market economics. Right now, the oil cartel wants the prices to remain high because they make more money when prices are high. Take the case of Saudi Arabia. It is the de facto leader of the OPEC. Petroleum accounts for 45% of Saudi Arabia's GDP. 90% of the kingdom's export earnings come from petroleum. The higher the prices, the more their earnings. Algeria, Iraq, Kuwait, Libya, South Sudan and Venezuela are some of the other oil-addicted economies. Oil accounts for more than 90% of their total exports. They run on petrodollars. All of these countries want more oil revenues. It is in their interest to keep the prices up. So how can world leaders bring oil prices down? The solution, they say, is quite simple. Break the monopoly of the oil cartel. Pump more crude into the market. Increase supply. And that's exactly what they're trying to do, what India and 5 other countries are doing as we speak. They're releasing more crude into the market. Where are they getting this oil? From their strategic reserves. What is it? Every country maintains a stockpile of crude. They just buy some oil and store it. This is called their strategic reserve. In the event of an emergency or a shortage, countries tap into this reserve. Every major economy has such reserves. That's because any shortage can trigger disruption. Imagine if all the petrol pumps go dry one day. A mass shortage like this can trigger civil unrest anywhere in the world. And to avoid a situation like this, countries maintain strategic reserves, also for war-like situations. And right now, they're tapping into these strategic reserves because this is an oil emergency. High prices of fuel are not just hurting Indians, they're becoming a problem in the developed world too. So 6 countries are supplying crude to cool the prices. The United States is going to release 50 million barrels of oil. India, 5 million. The United Kingdom, 1.5 million. Japan, 4.2 million. South Korea and China are also going to release oil. They're expected to share the specifics soon. Next question. Who will get all of this oil that they release? Each country is coming up with its own plan. The United States, for instance, it is going to sell it to major oil companies and international bidders. What about India? India plans to share the barrels with state-run refiners. Together, these countries are expected to release anywhere between 65 to 70 million barrels of oil. And this is expected to be in a coordinated fashion, a coordinated release. US President Joe Biden has called it the largest ever release of strategic reserves.
India, Japan, the Republic of Korea and the United Kingdom have agreed to release additional oil from their reserves, and China may do more as well. This coordinated action will help us deal with the lack of supply, which in turn helps ease prices. The bottom line, today we're launching a major effort to moderate the price of oil, an effort that will span the globe in its reach and ultimately reach your corner gas station, God willing.
So the aim is to reach your nearest gas station, he says. Let's tell you how India is going to make that happen. India has 3 storages for emergency reserves. They're in Visakhapatnam, Mangalore and Padur. Together, they store around 40 million tons of crude oil, 40 million. And that is enough to meet almost 10 days of India's crude oil requirements. Out of this, India is going to release 5 million barrels of crude. That should roughly equal to 1 day's worth of supply. So essentially, India is giving its 1 day's worth of crude supply to stabilize oil prices. Why has New Delhi taken this decision? India believes high prices are undermining its recovery from the pandemic. They're leading to inflation. So high fuel prices are hurting everyone. They must be brought down. Now, emergency supplies will begin hitting the markets in the next couple of months. How is the oil cartel reacting to this? Well, it feels threatened. It is planning a response. OPEC members like Saudi Arabia and Russia are mulling a cut in supplies, a further cut in supplies. They want to cancel their plans to boost production. Such a move will lead to a further cut in global supplies. It will create an artificial shortage. Basically, it will neutralize the efforts made by India and its partners. They pump more oil, the OPEC cuts the supply. And this is the oil war that we must all brace for, because strategic reserves are not endless. If the oil cartel decides to fight it out, it will mean bad news for the whole world. Having said that, the decision to release strategic reserves is indeed a bold one. The world's leading economic powers are openly challenging the oil cartel. Will they be able to break the monopoly and bring prices down? Guess we'll have to wait and see. And before we begin the next story, I want to share some figures with you. They're from this morning when India's cryptocurrency market crashed. Look at the slump. Bitcoin down by 17%, Ethereum by 15%, Tether fell close to 18%, Dogecoin and Shiba Inu 20% each. And as these big ones tumbled, others followed suit. Cardano, Ripple, Polkadot, USD Coin, Stellar, they all fell by an average of 10% or more. There was massive sell-off. What explains this? What triggered it? India's proposed cryptocurrency bill, a bill that has shaken up the country even before it is put up for discussion, forget being passed. Again, the question is why? And the answer is this. There is a lot of uncertainty around this proposed law, a lot of unknowns, a lot of doubts and concerns. So tonight we are going to try and answer some of these questions and separate facts from fiction. We'll start with the bill itself. What is it called? The Cryptocurrency Regulation of Official Digital Currency Bill 2021. And by the way, this bill was listed for in the budget session too. That was in the month of February. The government never got around to presenting it in Parliament. What does that tell you? That just because something is listed on the Parliament's agenda does not necessarily mean that it will see the light of the day. For the winter session, a total of 26 bills have been listed for discussion in India, 26. If we consider how dysfunctional Parliament proceedings have been of late, how beautifully they've been held to ransom by political parties, it is anybody's guess if this bill will get passed. But if it does, how will it impact those of you who invested in crypto? Will it regulate cryptocurrency in India or ban it altogether? Again, there's no clarity. The government says the aim is to regulate cryptocurrency, but the statement it issued tells a rather different story. It says that the proposed law, and I'm quoting, this is what the agenda item says, the proposed law seeks to prohibit all private cryptocurrencies in India while allowing for certain exceptions. What does that even mean? It also goes on to say that the aim of the bill is to create and facilitate a framework for creation of the official digital currency to be issued by the Reserve Bank of India. How do we define what a private cryptocurrency is? How do we distinguish it from the public ones? That's another grey area. In legal terms, anything not issued by a government or sovereign can classify as a private cryptocurrency. But if we speak practically, aren't all cryptocurrencies public? It's a question that many are asking. So we're going to try and understand the difference. According to NASDAQ, a public cryptocurrency is one that operates an open blockchain with ledgers available for every user. The transactions are linkable, they're traceable through one network. That's public. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, these are all classic examples. On the other hand, a private cryptocurrency is one where the ledger or transaction information is blurred. And this is done in order to offer privacy to users. The transactions are difficult to trace as they're routed through multiple networks. Monero, Zcash, and Dash are some good examples. And that said, it's hard to comprehend what the government really means when it says private cryptocurrency. We don't know if it's trying to draw the same technical distinction that I just explained. For all we know, any cryptocurrency that is not issued by government can be classified as private. And let me come back to what the government bulletin further states, what I said just now. The aim of to create a facilitative framework for creation of the official digital currency to be issued by the Reserve Bank of India, meaning the bill will create one sole virtual currency, a digital rupee of sorts that could render other cryptocurrencies useless. Again, it's a possibility, not a certainty. The government will have to clear the air on this, explain in clear terms what it intends to do, tell investors if they will be allowed a window to liquidate their holdings. And here's why this is important. Do you know how many Indians have invested in cryptocurrency? 10 crore. That's one people. More Indians have put their money in crypto than the stock market in India. More Indians have put their money in crypto than Americans. We're looking at massive volumes here. How much money have they invested? 10 billion US dollars. That's one estimate. The exact figure may vary. Which cryptocurrency have they invested in the most? Bitcoin. It's the highest valued cryptocurrency in India. Who exactly are these investors? The youth of India. The average age of a crypto investor in India is around 24. Our young guns are driving the crypto craze. They rely on it as a side hustle, a means to earn some fast money, or simply due to FOMO, that's the fear of missing out, FOMO. The government says all of these people could be misled through non-transparent advertising, ads which try to position cryptocurrency as the shortest, quickest and surest way to become rich, but offer no returns in case you lose your money. During the recent T20 World Cup, we all were bombarded with advertisements of cryptocurrencies. I'm sure you saw them. It became a household word. Many Indians invested their money with knowledge of how it works. They saw it as quick money. The government says that this could risk the money of gullible Indians who don't really know how crypto works. And in the absence of regulation, they will have no means to recover their money. The government also suspects that the anonymous nature of these transfers could become a tool for drug traffickers, smugglers and money launderers. And this is not a debate that is unique to India. This is a debate that has played out in several countries. Many governments around the world have banned crypto altogether. Countries like China, Nepal, Vietnam, Colombia, Russia, Ecuador, Bolivia, Algeria, Egypt, Indonesia, Turkey. They've all either banned cryptocurrencies or restricted their use. Then we have countries that have launched their own cryptocurrencies, like Ecuador, Senegal, Singapore, Tunisia. And soon they'll be joined by other countries like Estonia, Japan, Russia and Sweden. These countries are in the process of launching their own national cryptocurrency. So India basically is the latest entrant to this club of nations trying to regulate what looks like the future of money. The move is long overdue. There must be regulation to safeguard the interests of investors and an end to misleading advertising. Our third story tonight is also about numbers. These numbers are from Turkey. They tell you the state of the Turkish economy, and it's a very important story. The economy is in the doldrums. We'll start with the Turkish currency, the lira. It has touched a historic low. In 2010, it used to trade at 1.5 against the US dollar. Today, the value has crashed to 12.4, meaning $1 is equal to 12.4 Turkish liras. And this is a huge fall. In just about a decade, the lira has lost 75% of its value against the dollar. Out of this, a bulk of the loss happened this year, 45% of the fall and 15% on Tuesday alone. This is unheard of, and it is hurting the people of Turkey. The crash in the currency has made prices shoot up. Turkey's inflation has risen to 20%, 20. That's the highest it has ever been in the last 2 decades, 20% inflation. Why is this a big deal? Because there was a time when Turkey was the fastest growing economy in the G20. It was tipped to be the next big thing after India and China. In 2017, the country's GDP had surged by 5%. It outperformed all major economies. It stood at a massive $863 billion. Today, it has sunk to $740 billion. What happened to Turkey? President Erdogan. That's what happened to Turkey. The ambitions of one man are hurting the interests of the whole country. Last year, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan embarked on an economic experiment, an experiment that economists have called reckless. What did he do? Erdogan set Turkey on a path of aggressive cuts in interest rates, which he thought would boost jobs, exports, and growth. He described interest rates as the enemy, implying that high interest rates cause higher inflation and not the other way around. So when Turkey's central bank objected, he responded with a heavy hand. In the last 2 years, President Erdogan has fired 3 central bank chiefs. He replaced them with loyalists and yes-men, people who agree with his plan, even if it's a dangerous plan. In September, the Central Bank of Turkey cut interest rates from 19% to 15%. Erdogan hoped this would attract investors, but the very opposite happened. 2 months on, this decision has led to a free fall in the lira. It has soared inflation to a 2-decade high, but President Erdogan is unrelenting. You see, his party's poll numbers do not look good. Questions are being raised about his health. And Turkey has been isolated internationally, put in the FATF grey list. At a time like this, Erdogan thinks that rolling back his policy would amount to admitting defeat. That a U-turn may further hurt his political prospects. So he is going ahead with his plan, notwithstanding the soaring inflation, which is eating into the daily earnings of the average Turk. It is making big companies lose confidence in Turkey. Apple, for instance. Apple has temporarily halted online sales in Turkey. It is not accepting any new orders. All Apple devices are currently unavailable in Turkey. Shoppers cannot even add them to their carts online. And Apple has not specified why. But Turks suspect it is due to the sinking lira. Many have hit the streets in protests. Look at these images. They're from this afternoon. These are Turkish citizens burning fake dollars as a symbolic gesture of protest. Why the dollar, you may ask? Because burning the lira might land them in jail. So they burned the dollar, fake dollars, to complain about the troubles they're facing. Some of them even called Erdogan a national security problem for Turkey.
As our troubles grow gradually, we are here to say it's enough. Shopkeepers cannot sleep until the morning and they keep worrying about what will happen until the morning. Unpaid rent is piling up. Goods are not bought or sold. Nobody shares our burden.
These people know what you are now. Let me tell you this, from this point on, you are a fundamental national security problem for the Republic of Turkey.
It's a watershed moment in Turkey. Erdogan's experiment has proven disastrous for the economy. People are beginning to lose faith in him. Will their anger reflect in the next election is the question. It's scheduled for 2023. We'll be tracking this one. And talking about watershed moments, here's another one. Israeli surveillance company NSO Group that cracked the phones of world leaders and business tycoons has been sued. Tech giant Apple is taking the company to court. Already NSO is battling a lawsuit from WhatsApp. Now it has Apple to contend with. Can this legal scrutiny put an end to unauthorized surveillance? What about Israel? Will the Israeli government defend its homegrown surveillance company? Our next report has all the answers.
It's a lawsuit like no other. Apple is going after the NSO Group, the infamous and secret Israeli company, accused of spying for governments. Apple has filed a lawsuit in the United States. The accusations are familiar ones. Apple says NSO hacked iPhones. It turned iPhones into spying devices, without the knowledge of the owner. With this hack, NSO was able to record the owner's activities, collect emails, text messages, and browsing history. It could even control the phone's mics and cameras, and potentially listen and watch what the owner is doing. Apple wants the NSO Group to pay $75,000 in damages, but Apple is not suing for money. It wants to set a precedent. Apple wants a permanent injunction against NSO, a court order that will ban the Israeli company from using Apple's software, services, or devices. The lawsuits are piling up for NSO. It is already facing one from WhatsApp. WhatsApp says NSO hacked 1,400 of its users. First, NSO tried to block the lawsuit, The company argued that it enjoys sovereign immunity since it operates out of Israel. But a U.S. appeals court wasn't convinced. The judge allowed the suit to go ahead. More bad news came this month from the U.S. government. NSO blacklisted by the Biden administration. Now all U.S. companies are banned from doing business with NSO. NSO wants to fight this onslaught. It still denies any wrongdoing and insists that its tools are used by governments to fight terrorism and crime. But NSO is losing support from the Israeli government. Recently, Israel's foreign minister Yair Lapid was asked about the snooping scandal. Lapid said NSO is a private company and it has nothing to do with the Israeli government. NSO used to represent the best of Israel's defense industry. The previous government used it to open doors for diplomacy with West Asia. Now NSO has become a source for embarrassment. The Israeli government is trying to distance itself from the company and the scandals. But if American courts decide to act against NSO, Israeli leaders too will feel the impact. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Sale. Very few words in the English dictionary evoke the kind of joy that the word sale does. Don't we all just love a sale? You know, the whole idea of buying a product at a price lower than the MRP. Sales are God's blessing to shopaholics, a treat for a homemaker looking to stock up on the monthly ration, a respite for those looking to buy Christmas gifts in bulk. The market today is very generous. It gives us discounted products, not just on Christmas, but almost every other day on the calendar. There's Thanksgiving sale, Easter sale, Diwali sale, Holi sale, Dashera sale, Dhanteras sale, end of season sale, end of reason sale, holiday sale, weekend sale, year-end sale, Independence Day sale, Republic Day sale, Black Friday sale, a regular Friday sale, Cyber Monday sale, Salary Day sale. Basically, there is a sale every day. Open any shopping app right now and I can bet you there is a sale. Have you ever wondered, what's the whole deal with sales? What's the logic behind selling discounted products through the year? How are brands benefiting by letting go of their products at half the price? What if I told you that sale is a hoax, a mere marketing gimmick that's designed to make you buy more at not so discounted prices? And I'll give you an example. 2 days from now, there will be the Black Friday sale. This year, Black Friday falls on the 26th of November. That's when every store online and every second store offline will be offering big discounts. I'm sure a lot of you have already wishlisted the items you want to check out on Black Friday. Before you do that, do hear me out and allow me to tell you a little story. Black Friday was once a quintessentially American phenomenon. The idea of Black Friday was to offer Americans attractive discounts on the Friday after Thanksgiving. Why? So that they could do their pre-Christmas shopping. Today, Black Friday has gone beyond America. It is a global sale day. No matter which part of the world you're watching us from, you will see discounts raining on you in less than 48 hours from now. But will these discounts be genuine? Last year, 90% of the Black Friday deals were not genuine. 90%. The UK's Chartered Trading Standards Institute ran a study. It found something very interesting. Last year, products sold on Black Friday were not at their cheapest price. Of the 201 discounted products studied, only one product, was found to be at its cheapest on Black Friday. The rest were sold at either the same price or a cheaper price before Black Friday. One washing machine, for instance, was cheaper on 88 different days before Black Friday. So is Black Friday synonymous with the best deal of the year? No, it's not. Should you believe online platforms when they say Black Friday sale is equal to the lowest prices? No, you should not. Is sale synonymous with big saving? Again, no, it's not. Think about it. Why would any company want to sell its products below a certain margin? Companies like their profits as much as we like our sales. So very often what companies do is hike the price of a product before sale. Say a pullover is worth $30. Before sale, the same pullover gets a price tag of $50. During the sale, a new price tag is added. Now the same pullover is worth $25 or $30, but we are told it's heavily discounted. It's a must buy. And the trick works. I'm sure you too find yourself hoarding every time there is a sale. We're likely to pick up the same pullover even if we don't really need it. Why? Because it seems unwise to let go of a $50 item that we're getting at a discounted price of $25. But you know what? The pullover was never worth $50 to begin with. Welcome to the world of price manipulation. And this is a very old marketing trick that brands have been hiding from you and me for years now. In 2012, the Wall Street Journal and Market Track LLC performed what was called a price monitoring experiment. It found that in the weeks leading up to Thanksgiving, prices climbed around 8% on an average. The same items were then discounted for Black Friday. So you jack up the price and then you add a discount tag. A similar research was carried out in India in 2018. Retail tech firm Ace Turtle found that on an average, the price of a discounted product falls only 17%, if it falls at all, which means the promise of a flat 70% off is a lie. But the problem is, no one tells us this. When e-commerce websites tell us the price of a suit has fallen 60%, we believe them. We don't think twice before buying the suit. We stay up late into the night scrolling through e-commerce apps, sorting our page highest discount first. We stay up carefully adding the best deal to the cart. E-commerce websites have you believing that you are in profit. You should check out the cart. The truth is, the transaction is not helping you, it is helping them. Let me show you some numbers. Between January and August 2018, e-commerce fashion companies in India recorded a spike of 415% in orders during sale events. 415% spike. The purchase in non-metro cities was up 70% during sales. In metros, it was up 14%. Moral of the story, sales are meant to lure shoppers. They're not meant to help you save. We hate to ruin your party, but we had to tell you this. Happy shopping. Meanwhile, Joe Biden, the US president, is hosting a summit of democracies, a summit aimed at healing democracies the world over. It's going to take place on the 9th of December. A total of 110 countries have been invited. The leaders of these countries will gather virtually to diagnose the many ailments democracies are suffering from. The question is, how is it that America is playing host to such a summit? Who gave them that tag? America itself. After all, America considers itself the torchbearer of democracy, the beacon of human rights, the champion of free society, all self-appointed roles. So when America announces a global democracy summit, it's hardly surprising when it starts leaving countries out of the list. Missing from the list of invitees are countries like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, China, we don't disagree with that one, and Turkey. America either doesn't consider them democracies or believes that they're undermining democratic institutions and hence should not attend. Well, China most certainly is not a democracy. The others too may be witnessing democratic backsliding. But who decides? The United States? The biggest invader in the world, a country that pokes its nose in everybody's business, a country that routinely arms rogue regimes and terror outfits, a country that sanctions others for the same crimes it commits. So who granted America the right to play a global cop to decide which democracies are good and which aren't? Again, America itself. And this is despite the fact that the United States has recently been added to an annual list of backsliding democracies. The US itself. This list is prepared by IDEA, an international think tank. It says that since 2019, democracy in the US has undergone a visible deterioration. It most certainly has. We're talking about a country where a black man died with a white police officer kneeling on his neck for 8 minutes, a country where cities burnt throughout last summer. Protesters flooded streets for months. Police headquarters were set ablaze. Billions of dollars worth of public property was damaged. The same country is now hosting a democracy summit and deciding Who can attend? Which country is a democracy, which isn't? Today, the US is plagued by institutionalized racism, growing inequality, and fissures in the political system that have tarnished Washington's democratic credentials. The only good thing, they've invited Taiwan and left out China. That should make a statement. We'll be tracking what happens on the 9th of December. But staying with the United States, today NASA launched a historic mission. It sent up a spacecraft to crash into an asteroid. Why would NASA do that? To protect humans, it says, from the fate of dinosaurs. What are they trying to do here? They're trying to slightly alter the path of a destructive asteroid. Our next report explains.
Around 65 million years ago, a massive asteroid hit planet Earth. It was a fatal and final blow for the dinosaurs. They all died that day. Fast forward to 2021, another species of living beings inhabits the Earth, humans. And they are desperately trying to avoid the fate of the dinosaurs. American Space Agency NASA is conducting a test. It has sent a spacecraft to space. The mission? A massive collision. Yes, NASA wants the spacecraft to crash into an asteroid just to deflect it from its path. This mission is a test. NASA has a theory.
So what does it...
If an asteroid is approaching the Earth, a rocket can be sent up just to deflect the life-threatening rocket from its path. If NASA is successful, any space agency in the world should be able to do the same. This mission is essentially target practice to avoid Armageddon in the future. NASA will be crashing its spacecraft into Dimorphos. It's an asteroid about the size of a football. Dimorphos is 1 million kilometers away from the Earth, so it poses no immediate threat. That makes it ideal for the test. NASA's spacecraft, the DART probe, will travel at speeds well over 2,400 kilometers per hour. It will collide with Dimorphos next year and shift the asteroid slightly from its path. The mission sounds easy, but it is not.
There is a high potential of missing. So if they actually succeed in hitting it, it will be a fantastic human achievement, really a first. It's never been like that. We've landed on a comet at slow speed in the past. The Rosetta mission landed on a comet, but actually hitting an asteroid dead on with a direct hit is something that has never been done before. So it would be a first human achievement.
Scientists at NASA will have to wait for 10 months to know if they were successful. But they must already be feeling the pressure. The future of humanity depends on this one space collision. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Now, I want you to take a minute and try to calculate the number of hours you've spent in front of a screen today. And by screen, I mean laptop, desktop, mobile phone, tab, Kindle or its kind. Do you have a number yet? If it's anything near 9 hours, your eyes may be in trouble. Well, you already know that. Or your eyes may have already elongated. Did you know that? Today, we have a clear link between screen time and vision problem. You know what myopia is, another word for nearsightedness. When you can see objects that are near us, but can't see those that are far from us. The increasing screen time is putting us at the risk of nearsightedness. It's been called an epidemic. The journey between staring at a screen and having to get a pair of specs is a very interesting one. You see, our eyes are not too different from the rest of our bodies when it comes to growth. The growth cycle of our eyes begins at conception and ends after teenage, meaning our eyes don't grow once we turn 19, at most 20. And that's the ideal scenario. But what's happening today is that our eyes are constantly growing because they're spending too much focusing on objects near us like phones, tabs, Kindles. We hold them pretty close to our eyes, and when we do that, we end up spoiling our eyes. How does that happen? 1, they're strained, and 2, they blink less because they're so focused on the screen. 3, the eye muscles stretch, and 4, our lenses shift. Again, why? In order to adjust to the close distance between the eyes and the screen. All of us, and all of this, in fact, leaves us with elongated eyeballs. Our eyeballs are supposed to be round, like an orange. When we become nearsighted, the eyeballs become oval, like a grape or an olive. Why is a grape-like eyeball bad for us? Because it prevents the eye from bending light the way it ideally should. And this leads to a situation where objects placed far from our eyes start becoming blurred. So we need specs or lenses in order to see clearly. What I'm telling you is not a hypothesis. The link between screens and specs is real. The more the screen time, the more the risk of myopia. It is happening all around us. In 2010, in fact, just 28% of Indians had myopia, 28%. In 2020, at least 34% Indians had myopia. By 2050, around 50% of Indians are expected to have myopia. 50% of this country is expected to have nearsightedness. Guess what else is going along with the myopia numbers? Our screen time. In the US, over 40% of people already have trouble seeing far objects. Myopia cases have doubled in 50 years. The problem has become so widespread that America's leading eye institutes are calling myopia an epidemic. The pandemic has made the situation worse. Even those who did not need to stare at their computers for 10 hours a day are now working on their systems from home. During lockdowns, our phones became our lifelines. They doubled up as our classrooms, grocery stores. We used phones for video calls, even played board games on our phones. The pandemic made smartphones an inseparable part of our lives. Today, an average person spends over 9 hours in front of a screen. And this is not a number to be proud of. Our eyes are at risk. Guess we all know that already. The eyes of our children are also at risk. In 2020, Chinese researchers studied over 120,000 students. They were aged 6 to 8. All of them were quarantined. All of them were attending classes online. Vision-related issues among these students increased 3 times. And this is compared to the previous 5 years. 3 times increase. I'm sure some of you are thinking, what's the big deal with myopia or vision problem? We have specs and we have lenses to solve them. Well, you are right. They help us in the short term. But then there are long-term effects of myopia that we cannot ignore, like breaks in the retina or blindness. An elongated eyeball stretches the retina or the coating. At times, the coating cracks and it makes your eyes vulnerable to external fluid. This puts us at the risk of blindness, developing cataract or glaucoma. I am, of course, trying to explain all of this to you in extremely simplified terms. The point I'm trying to make is that there are scary consequences of overexposure to screen. There are consequences of developing myopia. Eye problems or vision problems cannot be rubbished as silly problems. The myopia epidemic is something that we all must worry about. Sitting in front of laptops for 9 hours is not good for us. So this is what we need to do. Take a break from screens. And I understand for a lot of you, this sounds impossible. For a lot of you, work involves focusing on screens for long hours. So here's what you can do. Start by taking 20-second breaks. There's something called a 20-20-20 model. After every 20 minutes of screen time, look at an object that is at least 20 feet away for 20 seconds. It's a very simple exercise, and doctors say it helps minimize the strain on your eyes. Also ensure that you're blinking enough. Keep your eyes lubricated. And do it for the long term. For the long-term health of your eyes. The nearsightedness epidemic is something that we can all put an end to. We can at least try. I'm wrapping the show with that, leaving you with Gravitas images. Thanks very much for watching.